All right, guys, so let's bang off our first program. We're going to get pin 13, which has an integral LED on the actual Arduino to start to flash. It's called the blink. And so we can find those instructions right here in the most complete starter kit. But let's open up our Arduino IDE first. So open up your Arduino. Looks good. And then we're also going to open up this guy right here. So this is the most complete starter kit. And we're going over here to English. Okay, and then we're going to preparation. And the last thing we need to do here was the blink. We already added the libraries in the previous video. So if you missed that, go back to the previous video on this playlist. I'm going to open this guy up with Adobe. Beautiful, looks good. Let me minimize this. Let's get the Arduino going. Gorgeous. So what we're going to do is we're going to, before I get rid of this diagram right here, we're going to take a look at this pin right here, pin 13 here. Okay, so this guy right here, I don't know if you can just make it out, pin 13 has an LED that is on the actual board. So this LED is connected into pin 13. So we don't need to have a current limiting resistor or an external LED. We can get our first one downloaded from the Arduino to the board, from the IDE to the board, and then we'll go through the basics on how to set it up here. So I did notice on the previous video that when I downloaded, let me see if I can bring this up. You can see here, invalid library found within my libraries there. So it looks like keypad, LED control, and pitches. There's something, it says missing URL from the library. So keypad, LED control, and pitches. So for me, that's super frustrating when I'm downloading a program, in that there's something messed up with the libraries either that I did or from eLego there. So I'm just going to get rid of them from now, and then if I need them, I will try to find them once we get to the keypad, LED control, or pitches. So let me just quickly get to there. So we put them in Documents, Arduino. So keypad, what was that? Keypad, pitches, and LED control are messed up. I'm just going to delete those out for now, and hopefully that eliminates that issue there. Okay. So the way that I was able to place both of these guys on the screen, let me just minimize this guy. So just my screen here. So if you have both programs and you're using a Windows machine, you can take this, right? And then you can just move it over to the left-hand side of the screen, and you can see that it just pops into place there. Then if I want to have the PDF in there as well from the blink, then I can click this guy, and it comes in and fills in that space there. And then you can adjust the screen as you see fit there. Okay, and you can see that they both kind of match or fill up the screen. Okay, if I want to increase the font on my Arduino here, then I'm going to click on within the IDE, and then I believe I'm going to hit Control and plus. Yeah, so I can hit Control and plus, and you can see that it gets larger there. Beautiful. Okay, so let's make this a little bit bigger, and let's scroll down. And so we saw that was the LED that we were going to work with. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to load the blink sketch that you'll find in the IDE's main menu system under File, Examples, and Basics. So that's going to wipe this out. So watch this. We're going to go to File, and then Examples, and then we're going to go down here, and we're looking at Basics there, and we're looking for the blink. Okay, so what I mean, it's going to eliminate in that I now have two programs open. So I'm going to get rid of the base program that I had there. I'm going to grab this guy and then pop it in there. Beautiful. Okay, let's see if we can, let's keep this open a little bit for now, and then we'll work with this. Let's do Control minus, just so we can see everything that's on the screen there. Okay, hopefully this is working out for you. You can put in the comment section below whether you're able to view the Arduino code and the PDF properly on whatever device that you're looking at. Okay, so it says that it may be there already. Okay, so we've now opened up the blink program here. When the sketch window opens, enlarge it so you can see the entire sketch in the window. The example sketches included with the Arduino IDE are read-only. That is, you can upload them to the Uno, but you can't change, but if you change them, you cannot save them for the same file. Okay, so these ones that are within here, so again, we went to File, and we went to Examples. So all of these guys are read-only. If you want to make changes to this and then save those guys, then you'll have to save them as a different name there. Okay, let's keep going. So they say to save it. We'll see if we can do it without. Okay. Attach your Arduino board to the computer with the USB. So this is something to keep in mind. So let me bring up my my Arduino here. So the cord that comes with that unit is really, really small. Let me grab it. So it's like this small. It's like maybe a foot or 18 inches long there. It's not long enough to get to my computer. So I went to like you can go anywhere. So I went to the source. It's down the street, and I picked up a 6-foot cable there. All that is a USB to USB 2, I believe. It's a printer cable. So any printer cable should be able to connect up to your Arduino. So I had to purchase another cable there that was a little bit longer. So all I'm going to do is just connect this bad boy up there. Give her some juice. Okay, and it mentioned that it may already have the blink within the Arduino. So you can see right here that that LED is already blinking. It already has that program in there. So it says the board type and serial port are not necessarily the same as the one shown here. So what we have to do is we have to make sure that my computer actually sees the Arduino. So I'm going to go to Tools. And then I'm going down here and I'm going to port. And you can see that there's there's a number of ports. There are COM1, COM3, and COM5. The one that I've actually connected up to with the USB cable is COM3. So if it was connected up to COM1, I wouldn't be able to download my program. So just make sure that you have selected the appropriate COM port that your Arduino is connected up to, and then you're good to go. Okay, that's the main thing that my students miss in class, and that we have a week between classes and they completely forget all the different steps. So just make sure that you go to Tools, to Port, and make sure that the port is the one that the Arduino is actually connected up to. Okay, then if we scroll down here, then okay, and down here it says the Arduino Uno is on their case COM4. And you might just be able to make out right here that mine is on COM3. Beautiful. Okay, then we're going to click on the upload button. So up in the top here, we have two buttons here. So this one here with a check mark is the verify. So if I click on this, this is going to verify that there's nothing messed up in the code. You can see that there's a green bar right here as it goes through. And so this is checking to see that there's no issues with the code. So let me do this. Let me get rid of a semicolon right here on this pin mode here, and I will verify it again. So right now it seems like everything's good. And everything's green down here, then it's beauty. If there's something missing, so I just took out that semicolon right here, let's verify this guy again. And it tells you where the error is. So it says, so it highlights that line, right? And then it says, it expected a semicolon before the curly brackets there. Okay, beauty. So I'll put in my semicolon there. I will re-verify. So another name for verify would be compile. Compiling the sketch. It's done compiling the sketch and everything's mint. Beautiful. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to upload. So same as they're asking here, we're going to click this guy and upload, download. It's the same thing. It is going to take our program from the screen here and it's going to drop it onto our Arduino right here. Okay, so let's do that now. And we'll see whether those issues. Beautiful. Okay, so you may have noticed in the bottom right-hand corner, there was the green status bar there. And now it says that the sketch has been downloaded there and everything's good. Those 3 issues that were there in the library are eliminated because I just wiped those out of the library. We'll have to find those 3 appropriate libraries later on. And so right now, let's take a look at the program here. Okay, so it says, note that a huge part of the sketch is composed of comments. These are not actually program instructions, rather just explain how the program works. They're there for your benefit. So the sketch starts with this, right? So it looks like we have blink and then all of this right here is just a comment there. Okay, there's different syntaxes there for making your comments. So if you have two of these hash marks here, then that is just going to be a single line comment. So hash marks, they're calling them slashes. Okay, so if you have two slashes like this, then it will be, so an example would be right here. So we have two slash marks, and that's just a single line comment. So the Arduino doesn't look at that whatsoever. It just bypasses that. It's there for you and for anyone else that's looking at this program. Okay, then it looks like if we have something like a slash and then an asterisk there, that's the beginning of a block comment or a multi-line comment. So everything right here has a slash and then an asterisk. So that allows us to do a multi-line comment all the way down to here. It looks like you have to close it up with another asterisk and a slash, but that differs from the single line comment that's right here. Again, the Arduino completely negates all of this, doesn't look at it whatsoever. It's just there for us. Okay, then we'll look at the void setup in a little bit. But the first thing is that if you're creating a program, then you might want to do like an explanation for this guy, right? So this guy says it turns on an LED for 1 second, then off for 1 second repeatedly. Most Arduinos have an onboard LED you control on the Uno, Mega, and the Zero. It's attached to digital pin 13. Okay, and then remember that this is all open source. And so whoever has created this program, they will upload it, and I'll show you like different places where they actually upload their programs to, like GitHub and stuff like that. But it will tell you that in this case, it was modified in 2014 by Scott Fitzgerald. Then Arturo Guadalupe then worked on it in 2016. And then Colby Newman modified it again in 2016. So it's open source. And as there are modifications, they're all in the open domain. And so the names are there to kind of give a shout out to those who have fixed up the code there. So you'll see that like there's stuff from Adafruit. So Adafruit is a large company that provides a number of different components. They have code that goes with each of their components, but sometimes the code is meh. But then you'll have other people who work on the code and they're like, okay, but like for an example would be a thermocouple or something. And it's not giving you like gorgeous temperature readings from their code. Somebody will work on it, create some additions, then they will put their name on it, upload it to GitHub, then they'll contact the manufacturer and say, listen, I got a better code, why don't you use it? And if it is better, then they'll actually reference it on their page there as they're selling each of the components there. Okay, so beginning part is just a comment section there. Then the next the next portion is the void setup. So in this case, where does it say? The void setup, in this case, there is just one command there, which is the comments states that the Arduino board, we're going to have to use the LED pin as an output there. So let's take a look. So the void setup is really just setup, and it's there once. So it does this once, and then that's it. So above here, so above the void setup, you would set up things like integers and floats. So you would set up your variables above here. So you would have a comment section describing everything. Then up here, you would have integers, floats, variables that you're going to make use of throughout the program. This one doesn't have those variables, so they go right into the void setup. And the void setup will run once and only once. Then it will move on to the void loop here. So in this case, it does the initialization of the digital pin, LED pin as an output. So we're going to cover this in the next video on how to do the pin mode. So on each of your digital inputs or digital outputs, these guys here, so the first 13 pins, so these guys right here, right? So those first 13 pins, you can either use them as an input or an output, but you have to tell the Arduino what it actually is. So what they've done in the void setup is they've done this instruction pin mode. And you can see that certain things, when you type them in, will, like if I change the syntax here, if I just do that, then it's black, right? But if I do this thing called bumpy text, in that the next word is started with a capital letter there, then you can see that it goes orange there. So certain things like digital write or delay, those are instructions within the Arduino programming, and you'll see that they go orange as you use them, as you put them in properly. Again, for something like this, if I put output and I do it in lowercase, then it's all black. So I know that I've screwed something up. If I put them in caps lock, then you can see that it's blue, and blue again will be different instructions there. So in this case, what they've done is they've said that the pin mode for the LED built-in, and the built-in is already set up as pin 13, which is interesting because it's not above there. So I guess LED built-in must already be set up for pin 13 within the program there. And they've set that up as an output. So that is going to drive the LED now. Okay, it's imperative that each line has a semicolon there. So you'll notice that here, here, and here, there's a semicolon on every line there. And then we also have, in the void setup, we have the curly bracket here to start it up. And then we have a curly bracket at the end there. So if those guys are missing, then we'll have an issue when we're trying to download to the Arduino. Okay, so the void setup runs once. In this case, it does the pin mode, and it sets up the pin 13, which is the LED built-in, as an output there. Okay, then the Arduino code goes down to what's called the void loop there. Okay, so the void loop runs over and over and over again. And so for this guy, again, we have the void loop, we have our curly brackets and our closed curly brackets, and within there we have what's called a digital write. So we'll see that there's different instructions. There's a digital write, there's an analog write. A digital write will basically write either 0 volts or 5 volts to that output there. Okay, they were calling on the LED built-in. So we see we have a bracket here. We have LED built-in, which is corresponding to pin 13. And then we're going to write that guy high. Again, the syntax is important there, right? If I do it in lowercase, then nothing is blue. If I do it in uppercase, then you can see that it is blue, and so that guy will work properly. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and do the output high. So the Arduino has two different voltages. It has 0 volts and 5 volts. There's another 3.3, but let's just talk about the 5 volts for now. So a high means that it's true, or it's a 1, or it's being 5 volts out to the output there. So what we're doing is we're saying push 5 volts out to that LED. Then after that, then we're going to delay. Okay, so you'll see that this instruction right here is orange. And so that delay will delay for this many milliseconds. So I'm delaying it for 1,000 milliseconds. And again, you'll see that there is a semicolon at the back end here. So just like in PLCs and everything, the base amount of timing there is in milliseconds. So we can put in 1,000. Then after waiting for a second, we're going to digital write to the LED built-in, which again is pin 13, and we're going to go low. So it's going to go from 5 volts and down to 0 volts. Okay. Then we're going to delay for another second. And then what happens after that second there, right? So that delay right there happens. Well, once it's gone through the void loop, it does this over and over and over. So it comes up here, back to the top here, up to here, right? Does the digital write high, waits for a second, digital write low, waits for a second, and so we'll just have this LED flashing on and off every second there. Okay, so we have compiled it, and there's nothing wrong with the program now. We're going to upload it to the board there. Excellent. You see that those LEDs just chirp there. Okay, and we now have the LED flashing every second there. Awesome. We got our first program done. We didn't have to hook up anything. We have an integral LED, and we've learned the basics of like how this program is actually set up. There's a heck of a lot more to know, but we need to know the basics in that the void setup runs once and the void loop just keeps continuously running over and over and over. Okay, let's see what happens if I take out the delay here. Okay, so the comment section will still be there. Let's see if what happens there. Okay, so at that point, I took out the delay, and we can see that nothing's happening on the LED there. So this goes through on the void loop, it goes through it disgustingly fast. So it's going through so fast, and we haven't allowed for that delay there. So there's no delay between the on and the off portion there. So let's paste that guy back in there, and let's download that to, or upload it to the Arduino, and now it should be flashing every second there. Sweet. Okay, let's just mess around for 2 seconds here, and let's change the timing here. So let's do 500. So that means that it's a half a second. Now that we've made a change within the software, the Arduino does not see that right away, so we have to download that. Okay, and now we can see that the LED now flashes quicker, right? We can get, let's see if we can see this difference here. Let's go 250. So that means that we're doing a quarter of a second there. There'll be a point where we won't be able to see it turning on and off. There we go. So you can see that that LED is now flashing faster. If I go to 100 milliseconds, let's see if we can still discern the difference there. There we go. Disgustingly fast. And so you can mess around with these values here. But you can see that every time that I change these guys for the delay, I have to change it twice. So it might be better to like set up a delay time at the beginning here, right? So we'll look at that later on. And once we've set up a delay time, I would only have to change the delay time once up at the top, like before the void setup happened. And then if I called that delay time within my program, then each of those delays would simultaneously change there. Okay, so now you can just make out, we'll see whether the camera is actually picking that up, but we're now flashing at 50 milliseconds there with the on and off. Okay, we want to mess around with this. We want it to be on for 2 seconds, so 2000, and then we want a delay of 1 second. Again, the change has been done on the software, but the hardware doesn't see that yet. So I'm now going to upload that there. And we should see that it flashes for 2 seconds and then off for 1 second. On for 2 seconds, off for 1 second. Beautiful. Cool. So we do have a number of different programs here that you can mess around with. In that, if we go here to File and Examples, we've gone to the basics and we're making use of the Blink. We're going to build up our own programs, and I'll show you how, like, as I've learned the Arduino, I literally write everything down. So at this point, we've just basically brought something up, changed some things, and then downloaded to the Arduino. That's okay, but 5 seconds from now, we'll completely forget what we've done. So what I want you to do is, as we go through, you may want to physically write down what I'm doing. So I'll go through in a slow and methodical fashion there. You can mess around with a couple of these guys to play around with some LEDs and stuff. But we're going to start off and we're going to slowly build up our programs from start to finish. And you'll see that after like 10 videos, you're starting to get the hang of it. You're still not mint in that, like you're not able to like sit there and write out your whole program. It's going to take some time before you become completely comfortable and you get to the point where you can, like, I'll stop the video and I'll ask you, okay, let's try this. And I'll have you like code it. Right? And then we'll start the video back up again and we'll see what you've done, what I've done, and we'll compare notes there. I literally have a binder, which I don't have in front of me right now, but I literally have here we go, a binder right here that's called Arduino. And I literally have written down like all the code there from any video that I've been watching from a number of different YouTube videos or from a number of different instructions there. So I literally have my notes here, and I will be going off of those guys as we go through each of the videos there. Cool. So, and I found that's the best way to learn. I'm old school in that I literally have to write everything down in order to learn it properly. I can't just learn it by like typing in everything there. So different learners, there's visual learners, there's audio learners, then there's somebody like me who has to visually watch and then write down everything in order for it to click in there. All right, guys, we'll stop there. Hang on, let me just cover a couple other things here in case we've missed. So let me just go back to this guy. And let's see if we've covered everything there. There's a couple syntaxes that you can look at the bottom here. So they're talking about curly braces and the fact that the Arduino is using C++ programming languages. They're talking about the loop there, and we talk about the delays that we just mentioned there. And I think, yes, I think we've covered everything there. So you may want to open this guy up. Again, I found that PDF within the Most Complete Starter Kit. I went to English, Preparation, and this was the PDF that I opened, Blink and Add Libraries. All right, guys, thanks very much for your patience. Hopefully everything worked out for you, and I will see you on the next video.